I want to go over the importance of protecting yourself as a small contractor, whether you're doing subcontract work for a general, working with the state, or working directly with a homeowner. All of these kind of scale to bigger and bigger contracts, so to speak, or not even have a contract, but some sort of written agreement. So as a small contractor, we're probably working a lot with like homeowners or maybe a sub under a GC for the most part for right now. And honestly, the reality is most of the time, if they reply to you back in an email, so you'll send them an estimate, let's say you're going to do their garage floor, for example. That's a common one for us. You could have them sign the proposal, and that's great because then it's a little bit more formal in a way. And we always ask 50% upfront, just by the way. It helps just cover the costs and show that they're invested. But the reality is, as far as like an agreement being official, more often than not, it's perfectly fine to just have them reply to us in an email because that email can get linked back to them personally. If they reply to you in a text, it's a little bit more vague, I would say. It just doesn't hold up in court as well if you ever had to get to that point. And how do we protect ourselves in, let's say, homeowners, right? Well, I would say the biggest thing and probably the most realistic way to go is putting a lien on the property. So how we do this is we prelim the project. So when you start a project or get the approval, you have 21 days from the day you put foot onto the project. You have 21 days to now prelim this project. And what that means is you essentially say, we're working on this project, this owner owes us X amount, and we reserve the right to receive X amount, whether it's 5 grand, 10 grand, 20, 50, whatever. You prelim this project with typically a third party. And with us being in Utah, we use Wasatch liens, for example, and they're great, super easy. It costs 25 bucks. So just bid that into your bid. When we do this, it protects our asset. It essentially is the only protection to really guarantee saying, hey, you owe me money and I need you to pay without having to go to court. If you go to court, it kind of just ends up being this drawn out thing that's honestly more likely going to be more of a hassle to you and not worth your time. So then you end up just saying, you know what, I got to write off that job. But if you do a lien, it is that like immediate protection. And so let's say a homeowner decides not to pay you, then what we can do is we already did the prelim. Fantastic. That's processed. We got the green light. They don't want to pay us. We lien the project now. And so we just let our officer know, hey, we got to lien that project that I sent in, 2 weeks ago. They're not budging. Now that it's liened, a lot of the time they're going to go, what the hell? They're still probably not going to pay you, but the mortgage company will. Or if for somehow they own the house outright, then upon sale or before they engage more work for a loan, anything tied to that house, that residence, has to pay you first before they can proceed to do anything else. So, worst case, it might take a few months, but you will get that money and it's a guarantee. So to give you a quick story on why this got brought up to me is we had a buddy that is a roofer overlook this HOA community in this high-end community. There's like 100 residents and the HOA members are just some of the owners. And it's like old people with money, right? So we're redoing all the balconies over there, or 3 of them, as a test run to see if we're, a good fit to do the rest of them, whatnot. So we tear out some wood, redo that, coat the whole thing. Everything's going great. The people are acting actually quite nice. Our HOA contact, the one that basically brought us onto the job, bought the guy's lunch. Like, these guys seem like, oh wow, this is going to be great, super nice fit. Okay. So we get the job done, 3 days, fantastic. Everything looks super great. It's just a phenomenally done job. Our guys did a great job. They're complaining about some deficiencies, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh, can we get the transition better? Okay, whatever, right? We don't have to do anything there. But Two of the three hated the color. They just thought it was more gray than it should have been. One guy was like, yeah, it's great. We're good to go. But two of these people just complained. Upon conversation with this guy, I'm like, hey, look, I can't eat this because there goes my profit out the window. I don't think you understand the drive and the material price is way more than just paint, right? This is an expensive product. I mean, that's why you've paid $8,000 for us to come out and do 3 decks in the first place. But he wasn't really understanding. They're not in the industry. And he has the audacity to say, you know what, you need to come back and recoat these for free, even though he approved the color. I sent him a message with a color chart saying, I recommend this color. He said, that's great, let's do that color, awesome. Two of the guys don't like it, I can't control that. That's not up to me. And then he wants me to recoat for free. And I said, we could do it at cost, I'm willing to work with you. So if you at least cover our cost, no profit, we could do this. Or if we're awarded, another 20 decks, like I sent you a proposal for, then I can absorb it at least in that profit and we're not going backwards because I didn't do anything wrong. I don't need to eat this. We're in the service industry, but that doesn't mean that we need to bend over and just be a servant. It's a two-way road and we both need to respect each other. So at first I was entertaining the thought because it's uncommon that you do this, but with further reflection, I stamped it down and said, no. You know what? If you're not gonna work with me and you're gonna hold the funds over my head, then we're not doing anything and there's no more conversation to be had. So the project was prelimed and now it's leaned. And now they're starting to kind of backtrack and scramble and say, oh shoot, you know what? Maybe we can. But he was a real bully. And so to show you the power of a lien, now that's going to speak for itself. I don't have to deal with this raunchy customer anymore. I did do my part. And if I did something wrong, we need to work with integrity and get it fixed. But we did it right. So because of this lien, I'm now guaranteed to get the funds that we deserve. And I don't have to stress about this customer that was just truly horrible. So just wanted to share this with you because a lot of small contractors don't even think twice about leaning because we're so stressed and worried about everything from A to Z. We don't quite think about why, right? That thing right before Z, just protecting our asset, protecting our ass, essentially. So I hope this is beneficial to you. Please make sure to lien your projects. It costs $25 to do. Maybe around then, depending where you are. Really easy to put it into the bid. And honestly, it really only takes 5 to 10 minutes. So I hope you understand this wisdom and you can take it with you and always protect yourself because you deserve to get paid as long as you did the job right, which 95% of the time we all do. So thanks for watching. And I share all this type of information along with more deeper tricks and tips with the trades as I'm a consultant. So if you're looking for a more in-person one-on-one experience, I offer that. There's a link below to set up a call. We can see if we're a good fit and we can just have a discovery meeting to see how I can better benefit you and your business and bring success to you. And if you're not ready for anything like that, no worries at all, man. I got more videos and there's another link down there that has a newsletter where weekly I just add basically tips like this in a other format where it just adds more value to you, more understanding to better run your business. But till then, sayonara.